Life is not easy, as we all know. Despite being a blessing, it serves us a lot of hardships and struggles. While we can always learn about and understand life as we grow up and go through all kinds of experiences, it becomes easier if we have a time-tested framework to look up to. That is where Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, Zeno of Citium, Cleans, and others come in. All these people have left their indelible mark in the world of philosophy with words of wisdom that can help us understand the enigma named life. Among all these great thinkers, the most popular name is Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius Antonius was a Roman emperor who went on to follow Stoicism. He is often regarded as the greatest Stoic in history, whose quotes are precious gems to collect. Following is a list of best Marcus Aurelius quotes to live by, in no particular order. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. This Marcus Aurelius quote can solve half the problems we face in our lifetime, only if we decide to follow it. It is not events that disrupt people, it is their judgments concerning them. This is a fantastic Marcus Aurelius quote that we need to imbibe within if we want to live a peaceful life. The best answer to anger is silence. Only if we could follow this in our real lives, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. No wonder we are always asked to develop positive thinking. Our thoughts have the power to shape our souls. Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears. Makes you ponder, doesn't it? Nothing natural is evil. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that it's time we accept this and embrace this. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Sadly, we fail to be either. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. Sounds impossible, but can work wonders if managed. Each of us needs what nature gives us when nature gives it. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that accepting everything that nature gives us with open hands can change our lives once and for all. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Golden words. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Vengeance looks good only in films, not in real life. Our life is what our thoughts make it. This Marcus Aurelius quote means answering the question once and for all why optimistic people live a positive life and pessimistic people live a negative one. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. If we accept this from the core of our hearts, we can save ourselves from getting manipulated at every point of our lives. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. One of the best Marcus Aurelius quotes that can heal the world if followed. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The outlook is what matters. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that we should question ourselves about what we fear and live accordingly. That which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees. The sheer depth in those words. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Wish we could stop bothering about things beyond our control. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. These are not words. These are tools that help us navigate through the mysterious alleys of life. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. Keep this Marcus Aurelius quote in mind before you indulge in a fight with someone. Each day provides its gifts. Now that is a positive outlook, isn't it? Life is neither good nor evil, but only a place for good and evil. This Marcus Aurelius quote teaches us to be good and not evil. That is all you have in your hand. Anger cannot be dishonest. Word. Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Words of wisdom. What we do now echoes in eternity. This is why our thoughts and actions should always be pure. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his soul. Solace lies within. Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that with time we change our habit of declaring something we can't do as difficult. Confine yourself to the present. It's the best place to be, undoubtedly. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question. What fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? Why can't we stick to these principles? Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. This Marcus Aurelius quote means that external luxury does not amount to peace within. Being happy inside is the most important thing. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Next time someone calls you insane for some reason, remember this: tomorrow is nothing, today is too late. The good life was yesterday, today is too late, but it's the only time you have control over it. Make sure you make use of it. To live happily is an inward power of the soul. You too can be a possessor of this power, if you want so truly. To refrain from imitation is the best revenge. Keep this Marcus Aurelius quote in mind when you are having thoughts of taking revenge on someone. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Seek the real, the truth. Let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have already. Makes you ponder, isn't it? Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always looks. We all have a source of infinite inspiration within ourselves. All we have to do is look for it. When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. This Marcus Aurelius quote tells that the ups and downs of life and relationships can be easily dealt with if these gems are incorporated. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live. While it is in your power, be good. Think good, do good, and try to be good while you exist. Where a man can live, he can also live well. Tools of survival. The act of dying is one of the acts of life. Never thought of it like this. A man should be upright, not be kept upright. That is some incredible advice right there. Be content to see what you are. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that finding contentment in what you have is everything. The universal order and the personal order are nothing but different expressions and manifestations of a common underlying principle. One of the best Marcus Aurelius quotes you will find ever. What springs from earth dissolves to earth again, and heaven-born things fly to their native seat. Heaven is what is meant for us if we do good while alive. Whatever the universal nature assigns to any man at any time is for the good of that man at that time. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that next time onwards, refrain from cursing your life and luck if something happens. Death, like birth, is a secret of nature and inevitable too, which is why accepting it is the only option we have. You are a little soul carrying about a corpse, as Epictetus used to say, one stoic about another's words. What's better life advice? Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours. Changes your perception of life in a moment, for it is in your power to retire into yourself whenever you choose. What we have inside is infinitely deep. Losing oneself within is the best thing one can do. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Words worth inking deep into the soul. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that our time is limited, but enough to achieve what needs to be achieved. How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. Life itself is an enigma that can never be decoded. Humans have come into being for the sake of each other, so either teach them or learn to bear them. This Marcus Aurelius quote is the ultimate guide to living life. Do what you will, even if you tear yourself apart, most people will continue doing the same things. Bitter, maybe. Truth, surely. Receive without conceit. Release without struggle. Profound. If any man despises me, that is his problem. My only concern is not doing or saying anything deserving of contempt. If we can inculcate this Marcus Aurelius quote in our lives, it gets easier to live. Look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. This Marcus Aurelius quote says that if we can understand and act accordingly, we solve half the problems we will ever encounter. There is nothing that happens to any person but what was in his power to go through with. That line can pump you up anytime. Adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live. Understand this Marcus Aurelius quote. Keep this in mind, and you will never have any problem dealing with your problems. Marcus Aurelius quotes are the best tools to help you understand life and deal with the problems it presents you with. Not only can these words give you a better understanding of life in general, but can also motivate you to think and stay positive. Hope this video of Marcus Aurelius quotes have motivated you. Do like and share with your near and dear ones.